there is Friedrichshafen and they make Zeppelins. Yeah, border of Austria and Switzerland. Borders of the three countries are meeting. Please, floor is yours.
Yeah,
Mr. Luppold.
thank you very much for the invitation. I'm happy to be here. Sorry, I got a cold a couple of days ago, but this fits to your weather here in Tallinn. I will try to contribute to this conference with a part that is about how trade fairs can help to push the export activities. Now, as you've seen, I'm already a borderliner in terms of very close to Switzerland and Austria, but I'm traveling a lot as well. I have a visiting professorship in Shanghai, and at the moment we are a little bit unhappy about China because so far Germany is the #1 country in terms of trade fairs and exhibitions, but in Shanghai they are building a very large fairground at the moment, which will become #1 worldwide. So far we have Hanover with about 500,000 square meters as the #1 worldwide, but unfortunately Shanghai will build a larger one and open that very soon. Now, I'm professor from a state university. We have, I don't know if I should compare it with your university here. We have about 32,000 students at my university. And but just to give you a little bit of a background. By the way, my email address, so let's stay in touch even if I fly back to Germany tomorrow. So if you have any questions concerning my speech, my lecture, my presentation, feel free to contact me at any time. I already met one of your students, and we met several times before because we had a common EU project together. Funny thing to have someone showing up here this morning and saying, "Hello, Stefan, how are you doing?" Yeah. But this is how we have to network all together. Well, I would like to start with the credits first, and this is maybe an important information for you as well, because my lecture or my presentation is based on material that I grabbed officially from two sources. One is called AUMA, and you can easily find AUMA.de, which is a German Association for Trade Fair Management, generally speaking. And they have also an English content site, so you can download information if you like to do a little bit search and get one of the tools I will present to you for free on that domain. And then another one is called UFI or UFI.org. And this is the International Association of the Trade Fairs. So they are the specialists, they are the associational background of my profession. Now, I'm professor for, generally speaking, event management, and we put trade fairs and conventions as part of the events, because in the meantime, we can't really separate those disciplines. So if you visit a trade fair, you will always get a little dose of event as well, or you will have a conference as part of the whole trade fair. So we can't divide into these three sectors. I'm running a program in Ravensburg, pretty nice there. We have about 100 students each year, and they are all professionals. It's a dual system, so they have a 3-month university, and after that 3 months of practical experience at Messe Munich, Messe Frankfurt, and so on. And this is why we are, I guess, relatively close to what happens in that industry. Today, I would like to start with a kind of an outline. Unfortunately, the time is limited. It's always hard for a professor because this could become a lecture for a whole semester. and I have some 40, maybe just 30 minutes remaining. I'll do my very best to put everything in, and this is why I already mentioned, please stay in touch with me if you like to in the future, because I can't speak about everything I would like to. The significance of trade fairs is one from the focus of Germany as a country, but also, of course, for you if you plan to exhibit, to attend a trade fair, and you ask, where could I do this? So far, Germany is a very strong country, and most of the most important trade fairs worldwide take place in Germany. So 2/3 of the world leading trade fairs are based in Germany, which is important news for you. It's not that far from your country to attend, quite easy going there. I would like also to speak a little bit about the typology, because we say a trade fair or a fair or an expo or an exhibition and so on. More or less not really the same, but we don't have to differentiate that much. A really main topic is the aim or purpose of trade fair participation. So what can we get out of that, especially focusing the small and medium-sized enterprises. And if I speak about small ones, I think we can say those who are maybe entrepreneurs who started their business maybe a month ago and who are interested in gaining more revenue streams and introducing themselves to new markets. A couple of years ago, I did a research project together with my former university, which is based in Karlsruhe, another border to the French border in that case. And we looked at such SMEs. So we tried to understand their needs, their requirements for trade fair participation. What do they want to get out of that? And how can we help? And I will present that to you as well. Just one slide is about the governmental support. I think this is important for your economy as well, that it's not only up to the exhibitors, to the companies to generate a budget for a trade fair participation, but also to get some governmental support, which means maybe a common stand where you can get some square meters for your products or some other kind of support, even if it's just the financial one. Now, as I have been with that industry for quite a long time, more than 25 years in the meantime, I would also like to present then finally my own case study, which is based on my last position before I moved to a university. And this was also for a, let's say, mid-sized enterprise with an international approach. So I had to think about trade fair participation at that time in order to run my own business. And this might help you as well to understand a little bit of what I'm talking today. Now, we can keep it very short. I have a little movie to introduce that, but it's more about the country, Germany, as an exhibition country, but it gives you a quite short insight of what it means to attend exhibitions. So this might be kind of a wake up call in the morning as well, and really a brief overview of what trade fairs can do, a little bit linked to the infrastructure we offer in Germany. Now, I mentioned that we have a very important economic dimension of exhibitions, and just to keep in mind for you, it's not only the selling market we are looking at, also of course the supply market. So some of you might attend as visitors because they need to get an overview of the suppliers, the potential suppliers. So from that point of view, we have these two different dimensions. Today we speak just about the trade fairs. From the perspective of the selling market, we would like to open up new markets, enlarge our customer base, and this is why we think about selling markets in this context. The function of trade fairs can be divided into three pieces, sliced into the exchange. So which means the transaction of goods. We bring goods from one point to another, even if it's B2B, or especially if it's B2B, services and information. So this is also a platform, a marketplace to exchange information. Information itself is about the overview of markets, because this is a very, even if it's 500,000 square meters, it's a very small and concentrated point or hotspot for the whole market, and it gives us an insight of the industry trends. And last but not least, the third part of that is the promotion. We can get a lot of support of the commercial development of nations, of regions, of cities, and this is why in Germany we are quite proud to have so many operating areas of exhibition grounds, fair organizers as well. Now, changing the perspective to those who would like to attend as exhibitors, I keep these three, and I look at the export activities of small and medium-sized enterprises. What can they think or get out of these three dimensions? The exchange in terms of transaction of goods. If we start our business, as long as we are small, as long as we are new, we have definitely a very limited budget. So we have to focus, to concentrate on where we can find our new markets. We don't have existing distribution channels, which means we don't have salespeople running around the world selling our mini cars. So we have to use places where we already find those who demand that. And we have plenty of uncertainty because we don't know the new markets. Well, if you think about my example from Shanghai, China, this is a total different culture, total different way of selling and presenting, of copying as well. And so we have to learn about this. Best place ever is a trade fair. Second part, information. We have, if we try to enlarge our business to grow into other geographical markets, we start with, maybe we have a little bit of market research done before, but we have a lot of assumptions. So we go under the assumption that in Southern Europe there exists a market, a potential market. So in many cases it's a little bit more than just that we hope to sell abroad. And in order to find the information that gives us a feedback on our hope, we can attend those trade fairs. Yes, and then the promotion, of course. If we start our business in new markets, first of all, we are a lone fighter. We are on our own. We are a no-name, and maybe we are a hidden champion, but as long as nobody knows that, we are not really making money out of that. So we have to start to promote our company, our brand, our products from a place where we are definitely in the eye of the hurricane. We are in the center of the market, which is, again, the trade fair. In Germany, we have quite a lot of exports, fortunately, and of course you can understand just looking at these facts and figures that this doesn't happen automatically. And I guess this is one reason why trade fair attendance or trade fairs as an instrument are well known in Germany for quite a long time, because we have those meeting places. And I have to state already that you don't have to think about flying into China or to India to sell goods there. Some of the relevant exhibitions take place in Germany. So it's not so far to open up markets for you, even in your neighborhood in Germany. To give you just 2 examples, in Frankfurt we have 2 international fairs, Ambiente and Tendenze, one in the spring, one in the autumn. And this is an international fair with different product categories, and many international exhibitors are there to meet plenty of international visitors. So it's not always to have high travel expenses. Sometimes it's really very close to your own destination. Well, in Germany, fortunately, AUMA delivers plenty of good information, statistics about what we do. On the left-hand side, you can see the numbers of the number of events over the last couple of years. It's not so much the number that is important for us, it's more the quality behind. So how many visitors did attend this trade show? How many people came from other countries? How is the development of that trade fair? And this is what you can see on the right-hand side on that in that small chart. We have a growth of exhibitors, also a growth of visitors. So about, you know that already from the little movie, about 10 million people attending those trade shows. Now think about visiting all the 10 million people at their destination. That would never work. So we have really that concentration of the markets within those trade fairs, and this is important to know and to use for you as your sales channel. Now, in Germany, we have governmental support because the small and medium-sized enterprises, they, of course, in most cases, are not able to pay for such a trade show attendance because they are still growing, they don't have the budgets, and they don't have the knowledge. And this is why the German Foreign Trade Fair program has been established many years ago, and the Federal Ministry of Economics and Technology supports many of those trade shows. So they have, they book stand space, and you can get some square, as a German company typically, you can get some square meters and exhibit together with other German companies there. So this opens you markets, and you can see there are interesting countries. It's not only the European Union, but such as Middle East, Southeast, Central Asia, or even Africa, where you can probably identify growing markets for your products or for your company. On the right-hand side, we have a different approach. This is about German trade fair organizers. So they are taking exhibitors to other places, and they are running those trade fairs all around the world. So they are aware of the important important network partners of their branch, of their industry, and not only good in terms of running such a trade fair, but also in bringing the people together and generating a real marketplace. You may have heard of CeBIT, of course, which is a very famous computer fair, and the CeBIT also takes place in other countries, such as Turkey. Sometimes they fail as well because they have competitors as well, but they take out their network to other destinations. Interesting, and you can get all the updates on these facts and figures whenever you like to online. Now, we have a couple of selected functions of trade fairs. I don't want to speak that much about the history, but in former times when we were not used to money, we just exchanged the goods. So I had a banana and I was looking for an apple, so I had to find the one who has an apple and likes a banana and so on. So that was the very start of those kind of trade fairs. Today it's a little bit different, and we have, because we are global players and we are very much internationalized, a real market concentration, and we can offer that insight of that market concentration by such a trade fair. On the other hand, even if it's just presenting a product, well, think about presenting a computer. I did some CeBITs 20 years ago, and it was really like a computer. It was a computer. This is a computer. Oh, very nice. Computer. It sounds like hardware. Interesting. Now, in nowadays, we don't present the computers. We present images. We present brands. And this is why we can use that place, because we meet face to face. We can use it with a focus on all the human senses. So we can present a corporate smell. We can make the people feel about our brand, make it whatever experience. So you can really get the full picture of what is behind our products. It opens, and this is quite important, I guess, for the small and medium-sized enterprises. It opens new markets for us because it is the concentrate, very fruitful concentrate of a market that we are not knowing at the moment, not really in details. And again, the information, we exchange information, and this is, would like to refer back to the CeBIT. 20 years ago, CeBIT was also interesting for those who were unemployed. So it was not only a market for computers, it was also a market for personnel. So I'm looking for new staff members. So where can I find good people? Of course, those came to introduce themselves to the CeBIT because it was that whole market, the market in at a glance. Whenever I have a conversation with the managing director of AUMA, and I say, well, how to position a trade fair in marketing terms? You may all know the 4 Ps, which is not peace or the peace you can eat. The P like place or product or promotion. We understand a trade fair as a place as a promotional part, quite often as a below the line instrument for the communication mix of our marketing. Well, the managing director of AUMA says no, trade fairs, they are everything. They are all the P's, and even if you have 7 or 8 P's, everywhere you can find trade fairs. And he's right, because if we attend a trade fair, it's not only for selling our products, It's also to get an impression of what our competitors are doing, about the trends, about changing colors, or changing behavior or changing whatever. So this is a full stuffed marketplace for all our marketing questions we can get there. Now, how important in terms of the exhibitors are trade fairs and exhibitions? This is a ranking that's not really that important, because the own homepage is more or less something that is a standard in our days. So everybody has to have an own homepage, but the trade fairs and exhibitions is, of course, number one. And this is, again, because we have that concentrated marketplace as well. Now, I would like to mention one tool that you can get for free from that AUMA association. It is the Trade Fair Benefit Check tool. It's a computer tool software, and you can key in some facts, some assumptions, and you can get out kind of a result that to attend a trade fair in this case is 2 times better than doing an advertisement in a journal, for instance. And for that reason, they have different targets. And I just put this slide on the screen to make you aware of the different targets we can have during a trade fair attendance. One is, of course, the acquisition of new customers. Because if someone is interested in a certain market, he most likely attends as a visitor such a trade show. And these targets are all part of that AUMA tool as well. In 2010, this is what I found during my short research preparing my presentation. Even the US thinks about how important trade fairs and exhibitions are to reach the export goals. And they have a very strong domestic market, but they have to do something else in addition to the domestic market in order to keep their economy running. And obviously Obama supports this. Well, the typology, and this is just maybe the academic chart, or the most academic chart or it should be about the taxonomy of what we are speaking about, just to give you an impression of what you can find in that industry. We quite often have those mixed shows. We have a trade show which is more B2B oriented. We have a customer show which is more B2C. And now think about the role of an exhibition organizer. He wants to get as many visitors as possible. So we have a public day. So even if it's just for B2B people, you open your halls for other visitors as well, and those who are the typical C or consumer people. We speak about trade fairs and sometimes as well about expositions or exhibitions. In the international literature, you find expression or abbreviation like MEEC, and the meeting, and the E is for exposition, which means trade fairs. So this is something that is a little bit weird, but I wanted to let you know about this. Well, from the perspective of the history, the trade fairs have always been the very important instrument, tool for the export. So this is not really new for us. We have just to think about how we can use it today or tomorrow. And as this text says, this is something that is ongoing, and out of the history and the tradition we can, of course, learn for our current strategies. If we think about participation, we have to focus on a number of criteria. of different questions that have to be answered. One is about the type of, so I think I introduced it to you in a little bit more detail. Which types of trade fairs are available for your product segment? Now, we have these different types, and if you read about like furniture trade show, blah, 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 think about what is behind the name. Is it the right attendance, the right participation for you? Is it maybe just a regional show for southern Germany? So, and if you would like to get into the European market, you should find another one that is more national or more international. Then we have the difference between the consumer show and the trade show. So if you try to focus on the B2B segment, you should always prefer the trade show instead of the consumer show. Finally, we have some more segments or some more criteria. We can divide those trade fairs in or into like multi-branch trade fairs where you find everything, equipment for Christmas and computers and cars and so on, or special trade fairs with a very small area of business, very specific. And it's of course not so easy to be answered which is the right one for you. Then the relevance for the market, which means which presence do you have within that market? What are the themes that are behind the name of that exhibition or trade fair? So what or in which way do they attract visitors to come and maybe also visit your stand? And what is the catchment area again? So is it just more the region? Is it an international trade fair with people from all over the world visiting? This can be found out. It has to be found out, by the way. What is the client target group? This is linked to already two other criteria I mentioned before. So you have to answer that as well. And sometimes you can identify by a pre-check, by your first market research, that there is that it doesn't make sense to go to Asia, but to China, for instance. And then this is something that you can maybe put as a result to your client target group. The same is the size of the company. So is this like CeBIT? Is this for also the big players like SAP, IBM? Or is it something that makes sense of attending for you as a very small enterprise? Next one is the competition. This is quite weird as well, because the higher the competition, the more attractive for visitors. So you have to compete with other exhibitors in order to find the right visitors. If it's just you out of your industry segment, it might not be interested for people to visit. But if it's you and all the other players out of that industry, this is highly interesting for people to join as visitors. Now, in China, there is, I don't think it's in your country the same way. In China, you have quite often the street of the whatever branch. So you find all the stamp producers in one street. You find all the deliverers for a specific product in another street. And this is why they say, even if it's a lot of competition there, people who look for something like that, like a rice cooker, they go specifically to that street. And I'm then part of the street and can offer my products as well. This is why you should, I guess you should say, yes, competition is wanted. the higher the competition, the better for my own stand. Sounds a bit curious, or not curious, a little bit weird, but that's definitely the truth. Now the costs, we have in many cases a defined budget, but we should also think about expected costs, because the defined budget is, there are numbers available from AUMA, where you can calculate based on what you pay for your square meters. You have to pay for your stand construction as well, for your whatever travel expenses and so on. Advertising for your trade fair attendance, and so think about expected costs, not only what is in my current budget. Sometimes it's better to raise the budget in order to make it a successful participation. Yeah, and then the quality of the organizer, of course, who is that person or who is that company organizing the trade fair? Is it a well-known one? Is it a big player with a lot of contacts all over the world, with a good network? Or is it just one who is like, oh, I don't know what to do. The other day I decided to start my own business and run a trade show. So look behind this. What is the marketing strategy for that trade show as well? And of course, where is the trade show taking place? Is it a real venue, or is it a backyard, which could generate some problems for you, of course? The basic conditions are, of course, the date. So does the date fit for you? Also within your own marketing plan, your plan of growing your company. Is it too early, too late? This is quite one of the biggest problems we have, because we don't have those trade shows every week. So once a year. So if we miss one, we have to wait another year. And sometimes the time is too long to get into a new market. And the availability of personnel. So how can we allocate our own personal resources, human resources, to that participation? Well, the questions are, and this is a kind of a summary. I have some more slides, to be honest, but this is a kind of a summary already about your own situation. How can maybe a new target group be attracted? So do you have already knowledge about a potential new target group? And how can you ensure that your customer group will be reached? Because it's not given by the attendance that you get some visitors. You have to do additional communication campaigns to ensure that people drop by and visit your stand as well. Now, if you like to decide about a trade show participation, you can set up such a scoring chart. Key in everything. This is important from your perspective. Define kind of a weight, and then it's like buying a new car. This is more safe, this is cheaper, blah, blah, blah. This is more green. And then finally you get a result which says, in this case, we have to go to Valencia, to Spain, to that Marmol exhibition. So it's very helpful, because in this case we have options. So we could attend different trade fairs. Your exhibition style is pretty much based on your strategy, and the strategy is pretty much based on whether you would like to introduce a new product to a new market, or bring a present product to your present market. If we speak about export strategy and small and medium-sized enterprises, we can, I think, go with that new market and either present or future products. And so from that point of view, we have maybe a contact-oriented exhibition style. The style means we have to position ourselves, our company, our brand, in order to make a contact happen. For your own business, you have to think about your personal or specific targets, because you can't do everything at the same time. So if you have a 6 square meter exhibition space or 12 square meter or something like that, you have to focus on your targets. Also, of course, you have to think about it in advance to measure the success and the success of your targets. And this is just an example where we say to increase the company image is the main target in this case, which means maybe no products, more image building elements at the stand, at the space we have, at the booth, and maybe less contract concluding expectations. So if we come back from that trade fair and the boss says, so please give me the new contracts, you don't have to show up with new contracts, because definitely the aim, the purpose was to grow the image, to get new contacts and not to get new contracts. How to measure this? Now, this is not so easy, and I have a nice story for you. One of the AUMA members told me that a while ago. The big boss, a very old but wise man, said when the people came back from the trade show, how was it? And they said, oh, excellent. He said, yeah, well, excellent. What does that mean? Was it good? Was it very good? Was it, yeah. How can I measure that? Now, they had at their stand 3 types of visitors. The C visitors, those who just dropped by to get a leaflet, a 4-page flyer, and then they left. So he could count the 4-page flyers. Then the B customers, those who dropped by, stayed for a couple of minutes to have a quick chat, and those got a drink. So he counted the number of cups of coffee. And the A customers, those who stayed for hours to speak about the product and maybe also to show up with a high interest in these products, they stayed longer and they got a sausage. They get some food. And so he counted the sausages as well and said, it was a very good trade fair, 382 sausages. Yeah. Okay, so, but, well, it's better than nothing, and it might help you. And by the way, this wise man said, and you know, the side effect is as long as they are at my stand and eating sausages, they are not visiting the competitors. So yeah, that's a change of perspective. Now, some more criteria you can read through if you like to, how you can measure those, how you can do that. We have, of course, still the lead management. We write down the contact details and put some notes like very interested, but no sausages today. And then if we go back, we do the follow-up with that. And we measure by maybe in this case quantity, the number of leads we generated. Now, a quick change to my project a couple of years ago in Karlsruhe, and we have a governmental business development corporation, so they are a kind of authority from Karlsruhe to attract people to start their businesses in Karlsruhe. And they told me that they don't only stick with the founding a new business, having an entrepreneur starting in Karlsruhe. They also would like to help to grow, because if they are whatever 2 or 3 people and they have the first success, this is okay, but then you have to watch out for some new markets. And this is what they try to do. And they found out that trade fair participation is one key to success. We took some companies out of that small and mid-size cluster, which is in that case the ICT, so information and communication technology. In Karlsruhe, we have plenty of those startups, companies, quite successful, growing from maybe 3-4 full-time staff to 100, 150. We said it's important to keep them in the area because it doesn't make sense if they leave. Then we have had a nice 2-3 years experience, but we don't have the effect of growing business in the area. And what are they looking for is business development cooperation to help them growing during the second or third phase, which means not only the seed, the start of that, maybe find a place in a business center, cheap space for the first office, links to some institutes from the university, but then also if they professionalize, to support them as well. And this means to take them to new markets, not only domestic, also international markets. Now, that research gave us some findings, and we asked the companies, what are your targets? And targets not in terms of exhibition or trade fair, generally speaking, your targets for the future. Now, as you know, you have a good product, you've done the first 2, 3, 4 projects, you are successful so far, so what are your targets now? And then they said, of course, the next is the acquisition of new customers. So we have to grow our customer base in order to become a stable company. We have also to increase our turnover because we need an HR manager, we need a marketing manager, and so on. And we have to raise the turnover. Then we have to improve the customer loyalty. First of all, we are happy to have some customers, but the next step is then to keep them loyal. If we are successful so far, we can work on the brand awareness and boost that. Even if we've heard a lot of brand this morning, for a startup or an entrepreneur, this is maybe more number 4 or 5. First of all, they have to make the first money and become stable in an economical way, and then they can think more about their brand. And then, of course, the opening of new markets is important as well. What is the problem looking at exhibitions? What are the handicaps? And we also asked during that research, and we found out 3 important, we found out 6, 7, 8, 100 handicaps, but 3 very important handicaps. First of all, how can we define targets for the participation? We know what it means. We've all been to exhibitions already, as visitors, maybe sometimes as exhibitors as well. But how can we find the right target? Who can help? And who can also then help, if we defined it, to reach those targets by what we hear later about having the right stand construction. The second handicap is how can we organize follow-up activities? One of the big problems is after the trade fair, everybody's like, was great. Yeah, we had a lot of good contacts, super. And now we are back and let's go on vacation and celebrate our success. And people go out and then they forget the follow-up. And after 3-4 weeks when they are back from Spain, they write the first letters like, nice that you dropped by at our stand. And the visitor says, hey, who is that company? Because they forget about it. So you have to have a really close follow-up start with activities. And the question is, what kind of activities? So how can we do that? And the third handicap actually is how can we identify the right exhibition, the right trade fair, which is the right one? We have plenty of those. We have like Auma, they offer a database where you can search by whatever you like to, but is this the right one? And this is something, a question where you need help, maybe from people like we are from the universities, in order to make it like this, to have the enterprise life cycle not declining, but still growing by finding and opening new markets, attracting new customers. I don't think that we should speak about the visitor typology, but it's part of, if you get a handout or download possibility of that presentation, you'll find it there. And I would like to come to maybe just one short picture or slide, which is about the stand construction. We'll get more information later from my colleague, but this just gives you an insight of what could be the target or the aim of your attendance or participation, because we have different types of, how to say, conversation or information or contact. The area, of course, the area of logistics is quite important, because this is where we get our coffee during the exhibition. But the area of consultation is where we can sit down and talk. And if we have many sausages to offer and many sausage visitors, we have to have many tables to sit down and speak with the people. And we have to have a big team, because if we are running out of people who can speak from our company with the visitors, this is definitely bad. Area of presentation, sometimes not really required, because there's nothing to present. In the area of orientation, this is where people just pass by, have a look, oh, sounds interesting, they just grab the 4-page document, take it with them, or do a snapshot of whatever. So typically Asian people do more the snapshots than grabbing the paper. And this is how you can think also about your targets of your own attendance. Well, yeah, we have some benefits, plenty of benefits, fortunately, but we also have some disadvantages. And one, and I would like to just stick with this, is the limited availability of trade fairs. Because if you start your business today and it runs well developed, everything, and in 1 year from now you decide to go to additional markets, and the trade fair is the right instrument, you may have to wait another year for the next trade fair. And the recommendation from many of my colleagues is, before you before you attend, be there as a visitor to have a look. So just walk the way and think about whether this is the right one for you. Now, waiting a year, then being a visitor, and then another year becoming an exhibitor might be too long. And this is really something you have to think about and have in mind. And maybe sometimes it's easier just accidentally visit some of the trade fairs, even if you don't know if this is once attractive for you to exhibit there. Now, my own experience, and this is the last part of my presentation. Before I focused on my academic career, I've been, it's a nice title, Executive Director of Marketing for a US-based company. And I was running businesses in Germany, especially. And one day, my boss called from the US and said, "Hey, Stefan, how are you today?" I learned already intercultural competence not to say, "Oh, well, today I'm fine, but this morning it's just a not to be answered question. How are you today?" So, and then he said, "Well, by the way, I think you should take over UK, United Kingdom, as a market." So quite interesting. And if you are working internationally, why not Scandinavia as well? And we found out that South Africa could be interesting. All right, that was a nice call that day. And I had 3 sleepless nights because I didn't know how to travel to all the places, to identify the customers, to get a kind of a forecast out of that, what business is to be expected. But what I did is, of course, I just selected some trade shows, some trade fairs, and I booked stand space. And from that point of view, it was easy for me to, in a relatively short time, to identify market potential, to find out more about the competition, also about things like a buying center. Are you used to buying center model? Sometimes you have people in different roles, like the one who buys, the other one who pays for it, the decision-making person, and the so-called goalkeeper. And to use a French example, if you think about underwear for men, 95% is bought by women. So if you would like to attract somebody to buy that, you have to make the women understand of how it works. And this is what you can find out by attending those trade exhibitions. And of course, also monitor what's going on, what are the trends. And this is what I did. I think quite successful, even if it's been successful. I decided to allocate 100% of my time to the university and to bring in my own experience. And that's all for today. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions, please don't miss to ask.